Hey there, in this video I'm going to share with you another SQL interview, in this case from a very popular web called LeetCode, okay? So in this case the problem is called trips and user. So like in the past example, in the past video, first just at the beginning of the development of this kind of problems, yes, the most important thing is to have the framework that I give to you in the past video. Okay, so first you need to read and understand very well the problem, yes, what is the solution that they expect for you or for you to execute at the end of the query. Just make some kind of canvas of the a canvas of the solution, just trying to know the data set, know which columns connect with which other columns in the other tables, and just draw some kind of mockup of the output that they expect for us. Okay, the good part about this kind of webs is that all the steps of this framework they already gave to us in their interface. Okay, so we're just going to start reading and making a very well understanding of the problem, and just directly start and just making some kind of code. Okay, so first of all we need to understand the problem. In this case, like I say, the problem is called trips and users. Is a really one SQL interview that I have in one of my past job process with a big company. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so they first of all give to us different tables. In this case they give to us a table called trips. Okay, so they gave to us column names, the different columns that are part of the trips table. In this case we have ID, client ID, driver ID, city ID, status, and request stat. Okay, so they explain to us so the different fields of the table. I'm not going to be deeper into this explanation because I'm going to let this link in the description of this video to just make you able to follow the steps with me. Okay, so next we have the table users. Yes, and we have only for users 3 columns: user ID, bainet, and role. Okay, so another explanation about the table, the fields of the table. Not going to going very deep on this, but here is the problem. Okay, so here we need to really make a very good job reading and understanding. So let's take a little bit reading of this. So the cancellation rate is computed by dividing the number of cancelled by client or driver requests with unbanned users by the total number of requests with unbanned users on that day. Okay, so it's just how to calculate this rate, this cancellation rate. You need to make a total account of trips or a request and divide just for the requests that are really cancelled. Okay, but we have here different words, yes, or conditions for just to get the correct information. So they give to us that we need that both, let's say yes, driver or client must be unbanned. Okay, yes, so it's going to be very important for the development of the query. Next they give to us that what they really need, so write an SQL query to find the cancellation rate of requests with unbanned users. Both client and driver must be not banned each day between. So they give to us another condition. So there's another very important word, in this case a couple of days. Okay, that we need to get into consideration for the solving of this query. Okay, and also they ask to us for round the final answer into just 2 decimal points. Okay, in order and just following the example. And as I said, this web give to us all the steps or all the steps of the framework that I just give you in the past video. Okay, so they give to us the input of the table. In this case they already give to us the trips table and the users table here just below, yeah, and the output that they need. Okay, that they need from us. So let's take a check for these two tables. We have trips table, we have these fields here: ID, client ID, driver ID, city ID, status, request add. Yes, so this for the trips table, and in users table we have just user ID, that is a mix of both. If you can see, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, and in client ID we have just 1 until 4, and in driver ID we have 10 to 13. Okay, so there's going to be just a little tricky, but it's not any to worry about it. Okay, so we already know that the way to connect these two tables is just using the user ID, and in some way just connect both client ID and driver ID. Okay, because as we just write in the problem, they ask for us that both client and driver must be not bounded, so that condition is part for the users table. Okay, so that's very important. And this is the expected output. They need a day, and if you can see in these two tables, the only table that really have a date is the trips table. So this is requested, maybe this is or probably that day in the output is taken from this trips table. And the cancellation rate that, as they explained to us in this little explanation, the cancellation rate is just dividing the number of cancelled orders between the total orders of that date, but made by unbounded users. Okay, that's very important. So I already know how to connect these two tables using client ID and users ID. Okay, so I already know the output. So in this part, we already know the problem. We already read the tables, know how to connect the tables. It's going to be very useful if we open, let's say, some blank or white canvas to just before start coding, just to make some kind of let's say code process. Yes, to make the code a little bit easier for us, not just to start coding like crazy ones, like I said in the past video, but with a previous structure. Okay, so in this case we have both tables. I'm just going to drop some kind of a structure here before go to the console and really start coding. Okay, so between these two tables, I already know that is client ID and driver ID connected with user table to with the field user ID. Okay, so there's the fields, and I'm just thinking about how to solve this. Yes, and because we need let's say two parts of the query, and in one part we need to make a total count. Yes, a total count of the orders of the request of every one of these days, and in the other we're going to need just part of that total request, and that part is going to be the cancelled ones. Okay, forget a table with that kind of a structure. For me, it's going to be very easy just to make an union in our first table, just to calculate the total the total request, and in another table just to make the calculation of the only for the cancelled ones. Okay, just having these two tables, let's say table 1 is this table 1 is going to have, give me a second, I just make this a little bigger for you. Okay, so in table 1 I'm going to make the total request, so probably I'm going to use an union to make the table 2 that is going to have only the cancelled ones. Okay, so if I get this, I maybe just put this into, it's going to be only one output, and I'm going to use this output to create another output in which I will to calculate in this case the request and the cancellation rate. Okay, so this is going to be a subquery. This union of these two tables is going to be a subquery of the final query that is already going to give me the fields that they ask to me, that are request and cancellation rate. Okay. Okay, so we already have this kind of a structure, like in the past video, a little just draw about how to just get into the code, not just to start coding like a crazy one. Just get into the console already with an structure. Okay, so in this case it's going to be my structure, and I think it's going to be alright for solve this problem. Okay, so just let's going to start already with the code. So what I'm going to do first, like I said in this canvas, I'm going first to calculate a first table with the total requests that count all of the requests, and in a second table just the canceled ones, and this is going to be a subquery from the final, let's say the final query that give me the fields that they need or they ask to me in the output, expected output, yeah, to the output that they want for me. So it's going to start with this first table that is going to count all the requests, okay, with all the conditions that they gave to us in this exercise. That is a date, a couple of dates, and the condition with the most both client and driver must be not binary. Okay, so it's going to start with a select, for the moment just all from trips. Be careful using the correct name of the table. In this case the table is with capital T, so as an alias T. In this case I'm going to use an join, or in this case I prefer to use an inner join. I'm going to explain why I use this inner join later. Inner join, the other table called users, yes, users u on. So in this first join I'm going to connect user ID with client ID. Okay, so from T I'm going to use the client ID equal to the other table users ID. Okay, and like I say in the explanation, I need to connect both fields, both client ID and driver ID, with users ID. Okay, so I need to use a little tricky technique, but is useful in these cases. Is just to make the join with the same table, inner join users, but I'm going to use another alias, let's say us on. T is the same table trips, but I'm going to connect the other field that is driver ID. Okay, so T driver ID equal to, in this case it's the same, but it changed the alias of the table. Okay, so us dot users ID. Okay, so that's the first way to why I'm doing this, just because I need to get this column in my where. Yes, I need to get only the not binary users. Yes, and using this inner join is just going to save me to make another where using the role. It's not necessary to put the role, because in the inner join they only going to connect the mutual coincidence. Okay, so if I connect this table trips with users from the client ID, they only going to just get me this client ID, and if I connect this table from using an inner join from this field driver ID, they only gave to me the driver ID. Okay, so it helps me or save me the task to put another where when I need to put where role is equal to client and where role is equal to driver. So I use this inner join just for this reason, and just start with the wheres, with the condition. Okay, where, so the first one is about a date. Yeah, let's take a look for the exercise. Yes, there are the days. I'm going to be, no, I'm not going to copy this. If you are doing this kind of job process, try in this kind of platforms, try to not copy anything, because they already know or notice if you are copy text from anywhere, any other side. Okay, so putting the date, so the request is the field that I'm going searching. Yes, is request at, so request at between, in this case I need the days that they give to me, October 1 and 13 10 3. Okay, and let's take, okay, I need to put other words, and I need to put here another two conditions, and it's just the condition that they ask for us that not be painted. Okay, that's very important. So let's put the other two conditions. Let me make this a little bit small, yeah, this is perfect. So we need to put the conditions for both tables. You know that it's the same table with a different alias, but they are connected with different fields of the trips table. Okay, so for that reason I need to put two different conditions in this where, and for the first one u, so and u dot bainet, yes, is equal to no, yes, and for the other one, the us, that is the same users but connected with other field in the trips user. In this case, and just what I'm doing here is just put that this in this case client, yes, because I connecting this users table with the client ID of the trips table. So in this case the client is not bainet, okay, and us, because this is the other connection with the driver ID field of the trips table with user ID. So I need this to get no2, okay. So here is going to be my first query in this kind of, yes, let's say mockup that I have, okay. So it's this first, okay, but I'm not finished. I need to just create this structure, because as I draw here, I need to union, before I create this first table and the second one, I need to union both of these tables. But the union is just for what reason? Because later I'm going to need to divide both fields, the total request and the cancelled one, to just have, or to get to this cancellation rate, okay. So for doing this, I need to create a structure. I need to create a common structure between two tables, but already knowing that I need in table 1 the request add, the total request, and in the second table I'm going to need the requested date, the cancelled one, and after doing this union, I'm going to need to divide both fields. So it's going to be very necessary, or it's going to get me easier to create just invisible field here. Let's put another field here 0, and this is going to be the cancelled ones, and another field here from this invisible field here in 0. So when I get this union at the end, when I group this union, these two tables in just one, when I make a groupation, I'm just going to have a table like this, like table no, like total request, yes. I'm going to have I'm going to have the request date, okay, request date. Here I'm going to have the total request, and here the cancelled ones in different columns, okay. So it's just for get me my life easier after I just complete this union. So why is this? Because I'm going to use this table to and having these fields in different columns is going to be easier to get to this calculation rate, that is a divide between both of these fields here. So in that way, for me in this moment is very useful to create I already know that I need the requested add field, request add, okay, that is just one that I know. I need in this case I'm just calculating the total. I'm not putting anywhere here for the cancelled ones. Is this the first table that is going to have the total request, okay. So I'm going to make a count, a total from T. In this case I'm going to use the ID, okay, from T ID, okay, as total request, okay. And last, I'm going to create this invisible field that I just tell to you. For what reason? Just for make the union between both tables, like this mockup, and at the end just make me very easy to calculate this cancellation rate, okay, between these two files in different columns. So I'm going to just put here an invisible field, okay, that is going to be called yes, let's say cancelled, okay. And finally I'm going to make a groupation just by the date, okay. A good thing of using this kind of platforms for just making this job process is that they already give to us the option of running the code that we just developed here. So it doesn't matter if you are not finished yet the SQL, the query, but you already be able to run just the part that you already developed. Okay, so in this case I'm going to run this little query here just for make sure that the output that I have at this moment is that the output that I expected. In this case, this is the output. I got request a date, a total request for that date, complete total request, not just the cancelled ones, just the total, and another column that, as you notice, is an invisible field. I just put a 0 here, but it's just for make me easier the calculation of the cancellation rate after, yes, when I just make the union of the tables. And it's already working here. Okay, so this first part of the query is okay. It's not the final answer, but it's just allow me to make sure that what I'm doing is okay, and it's in order with this mockup that I just created before I start coding. Okay, so we already have this one here. Going to check it with a color, and now I'm going to get to develop the union and the other table. That the second table just going to have the cancelled ones. That's the difference. Okay, but it's in theory the same query that I'm just developed here. So I'm just going to use a union and just going to copy the query, which the only difference is going to be that in the I mean I'm going just to change the order of these things here. So 0 is going to be in this case for the order of the previous query. This is going to be the total request. Okay, and here I'm going to make the count, but this is going to be the total request, just the cancelled request. Okay, just erase the comma here, and here I need to put in this query is necessary to put the other condition, just the cancelled ones. If you can see here in the trips table you have the status, so I'm going to make the count, but only of the cancelled by driver or by client. Okay, so in this case I'm going to use and in this case from T table, but the field is status in, because as you can notice, we have two kinds of cancelled orders, cancelled by driver and by client. Okay, so I'm just going to put this here, so it's going to be cancelled by driver, and the other one that I need to count in this part of the query is going to be cancelled by client. Okay, I'm going to make this group by one. That's the query at the moment. So I just create a first table that give me the total requested, and also with this invisible here, just for at the output have these 3 columns that use when I just start using this as a complete subquery for the calculation order, is just get me easier to make this division. Okay, having the field one field here and the other field, yes, or let's say the numerator in another column. Okay, so I'm just going to make the proof that this union is working. Okay, just going to run this until this stage of my query, and as you can see, we have in a same table, when I make the union, we have the requested and the cancelled in the other column, just here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just to commute this table in just or make an aggregation of these tables. So at this moment I already make this table here and the union. Yeah, we already have this. As you can see, I draw here like a sub table, because I'm going to use this result, this output to create this big or the final query. Okay, so we already are here at this moment. This is okay. So I'm already get to this part of the development. Okay, the solution. So what's left, just to make this, as I said before, a subquery of a new query that really just calculate this cancelled orders. But first I need to make an aggregation, because if you, as you can see, we got use all the fields twice. Yes, because I'm making the union. So I need to just have for one requested date the total request in this row and the cancelled one at the same row. So for this, I'm just to make an aggregation here, but first I'm going to put this as a subquery, and let me just to make this full screen and just to reduce the size of this console here. In this moment I'm just not going to need this. So okay, I already put the final parenthesis. I'm going to put the open one parenthesis, so it's from, and I need here a select. So the objective of doing this is, let's say this is table T, is to make a group by one. Okay, so what fields shall need? Use T request add, yes, this obviously because it's the field that I'm going to make the aggregation, as I said before, and I'm going to need, so just for make this aggregation, I need to make an aggregation function. Okay, in this case it's going to use sum, yeah, just for sum T, in this case total request. If I doesn't use this aggregation function, just the group by is not going to work. Okay, so it's not going to make the aggregation only by the request date. Okay, so I'm going to use as the same total request, yes, and I'm going to make the sum for T, the other one that is called the other column cancelled request. Okay, and this is going to be just the same name, cancelled request. Okay, so just make sure that I'm going to put everything good. Yeah, I have here this one, and the right group. I'm just going to run until this stage of my query, just for making sure that everything is okay. Oh, I have a runtime error here, cancelled request. It's okay. I have a comma here, unknown column T cancel request in file list. T cancel request. Okay, it's called. Okay, let me check the name of the column. Let me check the name of the column. In this case is cancelled orders, and this is going to be cancelled orders. So let's say, okay, cancelled orders. Yes, that was the error. The name of the column is different, so in this case I think it's going to work. Yes, it's wrong obviously, but I just need to prove if this is already making what I know. Yes, this is good. At the moment I have just in one column the request add, in the other column the total request, and in a separate column but in the same row the cancelled request. Okay, so I just left one step to finish this exercise, and it's just to use this complete query like a subquery, like I told to you at the first just this mockup. We already developed this part, so the only thing that left is just to calculate the division between these two columns. Okay, the cancelled one divide by the total ones. Okay, so that is not going to be difficult, I think. Just to make a new select here from, open and close the parentheses, and this table is going to make this complete queries. I'm going to call it double T. So what I'm going to do here is just to put the same field that is going to be request add, that is have any change, so request add, and in this case I'm going to make the division. So, but if you remember here in the conditions, they gave to us a condition that the result must be returned in any order but round by 2 decimal points. Okay, so I'm going to make this uncount here. So just remember this condition here. I just must execute the output and the calculation rate using 2 decimal points. So for that I'm going to use the round function here, and I'm just going to assume, remember that if we are just using a group by, we need to put an aggregation function in the part of the select. Okay, so what I'm going to assume, just for the first, yes, the numerator, I'm going to use the cancelled ones, so it's going to call tt cancelled orders. I think yes, it's orders divide tt dot total. No, sorry, I need again to make a group function, and yeah, it's going to make tt total request. Okay, so having this ready, I'm going to make sure that the parentheses are okay. Oh, I have an error here. I need to close the parentheses before the divide sign. It's okay, and okay, round, and I'm just going to complete the round function. That is just to put the quantity of decimals that I need to close the result. Yes, so to decimal, and it's going to be called, this field is going to be called, this column, as a cancellation orders. Okay, so I'm going to check that everything is alright. I'm going to aggregation function here, group, and I already have the group by one. Yeah, this is going to be here. So finally I'm going to make another group by one, and this is my last group by, because it's the group by from this numerator series. If I don't put this, let's say if I put here a group by but I don't use this sum here, there is not to make any for us, even if you already know that it's not going to sum anything with anything other number. Yes, so let's go to check if everything is good. And I have a problem here as cancellation order, maybe a parenthesis. What happened here? I have a trouble here. No, it's okay here, but maybe here. Okay, let's go to check this one. Okay, I have a problem here with this parenthesis here, because I only need this one, this close parenthesis here. So run again the query, and I have an error. Let's say what is happening, or what is the output that I'm just getting for this. Okay, cancelled orders in file list is again wrong, so cancel request, and here cancelled orders, and here I call it cancel request. Here is not cancel orders, is cancel request, because in the last part, in this one here from the select and below, we have is the field name is cancel request. Okay, so run again, and at least is, I expect that at least the query runs. So where is my output? Okay, this is my output. I have this result here, and this is my expected output. Technically it's the same, but it's a tip if you are in this kind of process and they are using this kind of platforms. They have a kind of trouble just with the titles, with the tags of the columns. Okay, so they must be the same. So if in the expected the column is day, so in the output is day also. So the only thing that I need to change is use here to change the name of the field, it is named as day with capital D, and here not cancellation orders, using this one, and it's going to be what is the output? Let me show. Okay, is cancellation rate. Okay, that is a very good hack for this kind of platforms. I'm going to run again the query, and as you can see, it's accept. Okay, so we already have the solution, the final solution for these trips and users trouble. Remember what just did here is very non-complicated. So just remember what just did here. First, remember always the framework to use develop this or any other kind of SQL trouble or TI trouble. Okay, first of all, just have a very good understanding of the trouble. Okay, just good reading of the trouble. I just did at the first step. A second step is to be able to know the data set. In this case, these platforms give to us the input, the complete tables here. So know the data sets before I start coding. So know with which fields I'm going to connect both tables in this case. So just make this clear before I start, and then before I start coding, just to use some kind of canvas, blank canvas, to make some kind of mock-up of which I'm going to develop in the query. Okay, so in this case I developed this very fast mock-up just to give me a structure before to get this before to get and start coding. Okay, in this case I just understand the question, and after understand this question I just get to this structure that just having an union between two tables, the first one with the total request, and the second table with the cancel one, and then use this output as an input for or a subquery for another big query. Yes, and in that query just to get this cancellation rate. So for get this cancellation rate in an easier way, I just create this invisible file. Yes, just another column just for when I execute this and I just make the union, I get in the same table but in different columns the total and the cancelled. So when I just create this big query using this table here like an input, it's going to be very easy for me just to make the division. Okay, and just knowing what I'm going to do and what I'm going to start coding and what structure I'm going to follow, I just begin creating the first table. This is the first table for all the requested, as I just put here, total request, and just copy the query and just create the table one for the cancelled ones, that is this query here. Yes, then I just use an union between the both queries and just make an aggregation function here for to get in the same rows. Yes, in the same rows, group by date, by the request date, both total and cancelled orders or requests. Okay, and finally using all these this table here, I just use this like as an input, as a subquery for the big query where I already can create cancellation rate. Okay, so it's here. I'm just using a subquery and just put request date and just put the output and calculate this division with the parameters that they give to me in the exercise. Okay, so watch which parameters just to make the round into decimals, and remember in this kind of platforms we need to the output have the same tags for the columns that they expect for us in the output. Okay, the cancellation rate. So I'm just execute it and is everything fine. Okay, so I'm going to share with you both link and the solution of the query in a Google Drive link. I expect this is getting very useful for you to practice, to get warming up if you are in this kind of process, if you are applying to different job positions, or if you are just near to get until this stage in which the companies just prove your technical skills. Okay, so see you in the next video.